So an unsponsorship, is that the opposite of a sponsorship, or is that
They
just
take.
like we hope?
I hope it's a hope. We're really, I'm done. I mean, I'm done, definitely not sponsored by them, but I'll take any money they want to throw at me.
And truly, anyone who wants to sponsor the show, you are more than welcome.
This
This
show,
is
my lifestyle, everything. No. This is yelling and screaming.
NFL Week 4. We'll do some recap of the Week 3 games as we move through the Week 4 games. Sean, I think we're kind of settling into this finally.
I think that the format that we're working with is probably the cleanest that we've done so far, and I like it. I think we should keep going with it. Some few adjustments along the way, but I'm good with where we are, especially early in the season where it's really less analysis and more just recap of what we've seen. As we go through and we start to get we get more into power rankings and looking at playoff potentials and things like that. It'll be a little more geared towards those. But right now, really, on with the recaps.
Well, and one gift the NFL is giving us is that no one knows what's happening. The NFL has been a mess, I think is a fair way to put it.
Yeah, between the injuries that we've seen early on in the season, some of the play call from the coaches in some weird spots, we've seen some officiate. We've had some serious officiating issues. It's been chaos, to say the least.
Yeah, I from a fantasy standpoint, which is where a lot of my focus is, it's been really, really hard to peg. The gambling side of things has been relatively clean because as teams underperform, the second halves are really scripted. So it's been really nice to be able to live bet some games and make a little bit of money. But I would prefer not the crazy ups and downs. But it's football, man.
That's any given Sunday. Or Thursday or Monday nowadays. But yeah, any given Sunday. That's why they say you got to play the game. It doesn't mean shit on paper. You can match up on paper all you want. You can have all the star power on the team, but at the end of the day, you got to play the game. And we've seen that over the past few weeks that these teams that we thought were going to be these powerhouses not looking so great, and other teams very surprising. So definitely going to continue to be an interesting season.
So I think really speaking immediately toward you got to play the games. Thursday night football, Cowboys Giants.
Oh my goodness, Cowboys cannot get it together. They were supposed to have one of the better defenses in the league. The last 2 weeks, they have gotten beaten down bad. Like they just have their defense has not been able to stop a wet paper. They couldn't put a hole. They couldn't stop anything. Defense couldn't stop a leak. Defense couldn't stop anything in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, it's not been pretty to watch. I do enjoy, Cowboy Nation kind of having their fits and starts with it, getting into a little bit of trouble on the Twitter. I really like digging around, messing with those guys. I do enjoy a bit of that, but this game for me, there was a long stretch right in the early days of the color rush when Thursday night games were almost unwatchable. This might be one of those.
I have a counter to that though. I am going to disagree with you on that, and the only reason why I'm going to disagree with you on that is because it's a divisional game. And NFC East, I'm from Philadelphia, so I've watched a lot of NFC East divisional games with a little more interest, even though I'm not technically an Eagles fan. But because these guys play each other so often, those games tend to be pretty decent games. They tend to be relatively close games. I mean, look at the Commanders and Giants game was a lot closer than and looking at what happened last night, especially too. But that game was a closer game. You're going to keep seeing that throughout the weeks with these divisional games, especially in that division. It's always been a tough fall division. So that's the only reason why I don't think this will be a bad game per se. But it'll be interesting to see if the Giants can actually put some points on the board against a defense that has underperformed, like severely underperformed. They've not been anything close to what you expect. And I mean, you've got a really good receiver in Neighbors out there in New York. He's been looking great as potential rookie of the year guy right there. Daniel Jones. I mean, he's still. It's still out for
He's still
me.
Daniel Jones.
He's still Daniel Jones. He's still Daniel Jones. Honestly, though, he's looking. Honestly, he looks a little bit better than some of the other quarterbacks. I think we're going to have a better season this year. So we'll have to continue to watch and see how he does. But this week, I think it'll be an interesting game. I think it'll be probably a tighter game. It's either going to be a complete blowout where the Cowboys actually do what they needed to do and what they should have been doing for the last couple of weeks, or it's going to be a pretty tight game. I'd say probably somewhere in the low to mid 20s. Just the fact that those teams play each other so often.
Yeah, I'm not super interested, but I will be watching. If anyone is in the Phoenix Valley area, come out to East Mesa. We're doing squad at the Guadalupe on Main in Mesa, doing a little get together.
Shout out Dirty Mike.
I'll be there, but you
I'll be there.
Shout out, you can come meet the whole damn cast of the show and all the 602 people. So
that's right. We'll be there.
Through.
Food is great. Drinks are awesome. Staff is top notch. They just opened. Their grand opening was incredible. We got to do the soft open and got to taste some of the menu items, and it did not disappoint. And then we go back, and it's just more the same. Quality food, great drinks, good staff, good people. So really excited for the restaurant, and shout out Dirty Mike. Keep doing what you're doing, baby. We love you.
Hell yes. Moving into Sunday, Saints Falcons, which looked like a Saints thing going on, and then kind of ran into the defensive juggernaut that is the Eagles. I don't know what to do here.
I will say that this right here is going to be a testament to how I think this is going to be one of those games that tells you really who's going to take that next step up in the division, right? The NFC South right now was it was going to be one of the weaker divisions from when I was looking at it. I didn't have a lot of faith in the Falcons, new quarterback, and especially not just new quarterback, but a guy coming off injuries, and really seeing how well he works in that system. They've had some weapons, they added a few more, and just kind of see how that offense was going to come out. And then on the flip side, no one expected the Saints to be to be as good as they are. They did run into a wall with Philadelphia, I will say that. But the first 2 weeks they came out swinging. Derek Carr was the best quarterback in the NFL, and I would expect that them having a game plan against a divisional rival team, you might see a few more scores in them than you got to see this past week. But the Falcons, Bijan looks great back there, and as Cousins continues to get comfortable in that offense, you'll just continue to see him get that ball downfield, get the ball to some of those receivers, and see some more scoring. So I'm excited about how this game could be. I think it could be the same thing with the Eagles and with the Cowboys and the Giants, where it's a divisional game, and it could be some good scoring in there, just because they're familiar with each other's schemes a little bit more. What do you think about that?
Saints Falcons are always nasty matchups. Usually something weird happens, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan going back and forth for the last almost 20 years. These are different teams now. I think Saquon, and more importantly, the blocking schemes along the front of the line for the Eagles is a really, really good blueprint for Bijan. Bijan's a similar runner, similar field vision. Obviously young in his career. He's not Saquon yet, but the guy's a monster. And quite frankly, the Saints putting up 12 points is more what I expected the Saints to look like this year. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned on this one. Falcons have been playing hard. I don't know what to think. The line is Falcons 1.5.
Ooh, that's tight.
Yeah, I don't have a lean. I don't have an idea. This could be 49-42. This could be 17-13. I have no idea.
I will say this, and this is my last point on it. The same comment that you made about the Eagles D line and how they're matching up against that O line is the same thing I'm going to say on the flip side. The Saints defensive line has looked pretty damn good. Even in a loss, they only gave up 15 points. So that tells you that defense is and in the Eagles offense is pretty high powered. Yes, they had 3 injuries on the offense. With AJ Brown out, with Devontae getting a concussion, and then on top of that losing Lane Johnson. And at the end of the day, they had to really, really manufacture that last run. They got the run behind. They got Saquon going. So the Saints definitely have a chance here. Both of these teams have dynamic backs. I think that they're probably closer to each other as far as skill set coming out of the backfield. And so it'll be interesting to see how well those offenses can how they can get going and get to use those guys and see what they can actually put up on the board.
Saints got to fix their man-to-man defense, or Kyle Pitts is going to destroy them.
It's got to get him the ball. All I'm saying is Kyle Pitts is not getting nearly enough targets and nearly enough catches for me. I think that he's so much more dynamic tight end than he's being used. And I think really they need to look at some of the schemes like the Niners and like the Chiefs, where they have another tight end that comes in and he's more of a split out tight end. I think they really need to look into that for him. I think he's doing too much blocking and not getting enough targets for what his skill set is. He's not being used as well as a receiving tight end. So I think that's fair. That's something to look at. Ooh.
Next game on the slate. Cat fight. Bengals, Panthers.
It will be a cat fight. There's going to be a lot of scratching and clawing in this game. Oh, my goodness.
This game looks way more interesting now than it did a week ago. Obviously, the Bengals have no trouble scoring, but, man, they gave up a ton of yards to the Commanders. I mean, Andy Dalton, obviously a far superior quarterback to the trash ball that the Panthers are rolling out before. I'm excited for this one now. All of a sudden, Panthers have a functioning offense, and the Bengals defense doesn't look so great. I'm kind of excited for this game. Bengals -4.5.
Let me reel that back in and just start on the fact that the Raiders have been consistently one of the worst defensive teams in the NFL, particularly in their secondary. As somebody who has watched them play for the last 2 decades, I'll tell you right now that they have strength in Max Crosby on that defense, and that's pretty much it. So the fact that they weren't able to contain a team that they really didn't prepare for, and Andy Dalton who was ready to show that he needs to be a starter again. I mean, he was just playing wild, loose, and free. And yeah, against the Raiders, I mean, go for it, dude. But I think that realistically, that was a fluke. I don't think that Andy Dalton is that guy, and I think that Joe Burrow is tired. He's tired of taking these L's. I think that the Bengals offense is so much more high powered, and I think that they really have a better chance of a defensive scheme against the Panthers than they did against the Commanders. In that Jaden Daniels, you still don't know what you're going to get from him. And Brian Robinson, I mean, their run game just looked phenomenal. And Andy Dalton is not Jaden Daniels. He is not going to escape the pocket nearly as well. He's not going to make some of those same decisions. If you look at it, Jaden Daniels had like a 91% completion percentage. You think Andy Dalton's going to do that? Hell no. I'm going to tell you right now, hell no.
I was going to save this for later, but that Commanders-Bengals game, first game since 1940 with no turnovers and no punts, which is insane. That's an insane stat just in general. What percentage of the Panthers win was Andy Dalton, and what percentage of it was the Raiders defense?
I'm going to go with it was at least, I would say it was probably 45-65. 45 Andy Dalton coming in, knowing that he's got to play lights out, feeling free and loose in the scheme, not really having to hold anything back. And 65 of that was the Raiders not being a good defensive team consistently, not showing up when they need to, not making the tackles that they need to. I mean, like, Andy Dalton hadn't done this in how many years? There's a reason why Joe Burrow took over in Cincinnati, is because Andy Dalton was I think he was a system quarterback there, and I think that he really wasn't in Cincinnati. I'm gonna go ahead and say Andy Dalton was a system quarterback in Cincinnati, and he really never got over that hump. He never got anywhere. He was Phillip Rivers.
You know what I don't like about this show is you put me in a position to defend teams and systems and players that I hate. I hate Andy Dalton. I hate the Bengals, and it's like, you say stuff like that, and it's like, do I have to defend the Bengals system? Do I have to defend Andy Dalton, or do I just let it go? And, man, like, I'm gonna choose to let it go. I hate Andy Dalton with a burning passion.
Fair enough.
Give me the Panthers.
Take the Panthers. Okay. So that puts the Bengals, then one of the teams that we had being more of a formidable team this year, starting the season off 0-4 against the Bengals, which is or against the Panthers, which is everyone considered to be one of the worst teams in football, period.
Yeah.
Against the Commanders team that was inexperienced. Like, obviously they played well against the Chiefs, but they just couldn't get it together. It's like, what are you know, where do you see their season going at that point? If you start off 0-4, like, where do you make changes? Is that, like, that's really what I would want to know. Obviously that means the defense is not doing well.
Well, and it comes down, leadership in the NFL is both from veterans, but also from your stars. Mm-hmm. What are the Bengals missing right now? It's leadership from their biggest star. You can't hold out of practice and bitch about your contract and show up on game day and just play. It's not how the NFL works. If you're not in game shape, you're not in game shape.
Well, look at the Cowboys. Look at the Cowboys. You got a couple of guys. Yeah. All that money that went to that quarterback and wide receiver, and they're 1-2 and getting blown out every week. So I understand what you mean.
Speaking of guys that are overpaid, Rams Bears.
I love the fact that I watched a video earlier today, and there was a guy in Chicago in a bar asking every single person what's wrong with the Bears. And all of them said offense, but 95% of them specifically said offensive line. The Bears' offensive line is atrocious.
It's awful.
They have more holes in them than a fishnet stockings. Like, it is just like, Caleb Williams actually doesn't look that bad. He's had to scramble a lot. He's had to make a lot of plays on the move. And this past week, he finally got over the hump and actually got some yards. But I mean, it's still in a loss. So, like, what do you do in that instance? The Colts did not perform very well this week. It's not like they did anything exceptional. JTT really put hands on them.
That was it. That was it. They didn't do anything in the pass game.
But their offensive line, the Bears' offensive line has just been they can't stay on the field long enough to get the yards that they need to get themselves in position to score the ball. Period. And they have these high-powered receivers, but it doesn't matter if your quarterback can't throw it to them. The run game is non-existent. It's just non-existent.
Well, and part of that is the guys they have, but at the end of the day, like, this is the offense you've got. Like, at some point, you have to point to the play calling.
Yeah, I agree.
I can harp on Caleb Williams all the time. I like to give our Bears friends a whole bunch of shit about it, but he's not the problem.
No, he's not.
Neither was Trubisky.
Neither was
Fields. Yeah. Neither was Cutler. Like, the reason these Bears teams have sucked for so long is, like, systemically there's something broken. There's no point even harping on it. How about the Rams? How about that close Rams-Niners game?
Rams giving you more of what you want. The fact that they have no wide receivers at this point. Like, they had 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers go down, and they take on. Now, granted, the Niners, they also are very, very injured right now, but Stafford's still putting the ball where it needs to be, and to put up 13 in the fourth quarter in a double digit and down by double digits to end up getting the win is which all you can ask for your team. The Niners don't look great right now, and considering that they're stacking up these injuries, I mean, there was even a scare for Trent Williams this week, if I'm not mistaken, on that O-line. You don't have your. Yeah, he came out. You don't have your wide receiver. You don't have your number one running back, and suddenly your offense does not look nearly as dynamic as it has in the past year. I mean, don't get me wrong. Purdy still looked pretty decent, but I'm definitely going to say that overall it is not the same offense that we were expecting. I mean, he threw for 3 touchdowns, no picks, 292. I mean, that's all you can ask for from your quarterback. He had 1 sack, so it wasn't like he wasn't back there doing what he needed to do. I mean, Mason, not a ton of rushing yards, but combined for a team, 137 on the ground. So again, not bad. Jawan Jennings, holy.
But to bring it back to Bears Rams, what in that stat line for the Niners translates to the Bears offense? Like, what are the Bears going to be able to do against the Rams here? They have none of those pieces.
They have not. Well, I will say this: they have the chance if their offensive line can give Caleb Williams some time. Sometime we're not asking for 5-6 seconds back there. We're asking for 2.5 to 3 seconds realistically to give him a chance to see, look at his second read on any of these plays, or let the play develop fully. If they can give him some time, they have the weapons on offense to be able to move the ball down the field. But with no rush game and with no time to be able to let the play develop, the Rams are going to blitz them. They're going to blitz them. They're going to make him. They're going to make it. They're going to make him pay in the backfield. So I mean, I think I'm calling this a Rams win. Like I just see it as them taking it here. And even though it's a home game for the Bears, still not going to mean too much.
There's no home field advantage at Soldier Field anymore. It's just not, it's not a thing. Roll the tape though, because a week ago I told you this Rams-Niners game is going to be a rock fight. That the Rams would win it in the end because that's just weird NFC West shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what it was.
This is also weird NFC West shit. I got the under. That's the only thing I'm interested in this game is the under. I don't even know what the number is. It doesn't matter. I got the under. The Bears are going to score less than 10 points. They might win.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, so it's going to be a poorly offensive game as opposed to a good defensive game.
The Bears defense is legit. The Bears defense is a phenomenal unit, especially because they have to cover up a lot of sins on the offense. I think the Bears defense is better than the Rams offense, especially with all the injuries they have.
Interesting. I mean, right now the Bears have given up 17, 19, and 21. So it's not like their defense is giving up a ton of points.
Yeah, that's probably top 10 end of year if you can continue that trend out. That's a top 10 defense.
And here's my thing too for that is looking at the quarterbacks that they played against. Levis is not good. Stroud is significantly better, and that was a tight game. Significant than Levis? Oh hell yeah, 100%. I know we will. I think it was out of character last game. I don't think that's a true representation of him. But Richardson is so inconsistent. And you know I have him as my fantasy quarterback. And I had Jonathan Taylor as my fantasy running back. So looking at this game, I was about to cry in a few instances because he's so inconsistent. I think Stafford is significantly better of a quarterback and leader than the three guys that we played against, with the exception of the skill set of Stroud. I think Stroud is, he can be that guy. But overall, I just think that this is going to be a better matchup for the Rams, against the Bears, and I could see them putting up. I see them putting up more than 21 points. I think that's safe to say, at least in my opinion.
So let's pivot on that Stroud thought and go Vikings Packers. The Vikings obviously coming off a dominant performance, I think is fair. Sam Darnold with like 350 and 4. Malik Willis with his revenge game. Kind of beat the tar out of the Titans early and then kind of coasted to a win there. This game at Green Bay 2.5-point favorite. I'm interested in this game.
I think so too. I think that right now, both those quarterbacks feel comfortable in the system. I think there might have been a blessing in disguise that they weren't originally going to be named the starters, because now they just get to come in and kind of play free. Even though they got a full season, they get to come in and kind of play a little more free. And they're both showing the reasons why they are NFL caliber quarterbacks. I think that this is it's a home game for Green Bay, but really, I mean, it's going to be it's going to come down to, in my opinion, it's going to come down to the running backs. It's going to come down to the running game.
People hate the Packers for a whole host of reasons. The Packers have probably been a top 3 coached, managed, and executed organization for 30 years.
Oh, yeah. And any organization who only has 3 quarterbacks
that's the thing. Brett Favre is Aaron Rodgers, is Jordan Love, is Malik Willis.
Apparently.
like Aaron Rodgers, maybe a system quarterback. I mean, let's see him with the Jets here, but I agree with you. It's going to come down to the run game here. It's the NFC North. It's the trenches, right? Mm-hmm. And revenge game. revenge game. I got the Vikings winning here. I think this is where the Malik Willis thing kind of breaks down. He is not the starting quarterback over Mayonnaise Boy for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. I really like what I've seen out of Willis. I really like his game. I like his demeanor. I really like his next man up approach. He's really still doing something. The Packers still don't have any real wide receivers.
No, they don't.
And him and Love, right? You have to give Love credit too, but they make teams respect it to the point where they can run the ball. That's impressive.
And Josh Jacobs is a very good running back. I mean, the Raiders had him signed after his Pro Bowl season. He had an injury, and so that's around the time that they start devaluing running backs. And the transitions in the organization over there. I mean, to let a guy like that go, I mean, I think that he's significantly better of a running back than some of the other guys in the league, and I think that he's going to be a difference maker in this game. And for their season moving forward.
I think Aaron Jones is going to run all over the Packers just out of spite and anger. And I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I love revenge games. They're fun.
Definitely.
All right. AFC South matchup. Jags, Texans. Texans coming off not a great game again here to these Vikings, but the Jaguars.
Oh my goodness!
They take not a great game and they bottle it up and they sell it as perfume.
At the end of the day, we've been talking about about Trevor Lawrence, and I've never been sold on him. I've never been sold on him. The money that he just got from that contract, $50 million for this guy, for what?
They almost beat the Chiefs that one time.
Is that what Joe Burrow got a contract too? Almost beat the Chiefs?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, winning 10 games in the AFC and giving the Chiefs a run for their money is all it takes to be an elite level quarterback.
$50 million. There you go. Yeah. $50 million.
Yeah, Will Levis. Will Levis could be the next one. If they win 9 games and play the Chiefs into the fourth quarter, he'll get an extension.
You know what? Yeah, that kind of sounds right. I mean, it's just sad. But this game right here, I feel like this is the Jags are bad and they're going to lose this game. The Texans, I feel like, are going to have a little bit of a comeback revenge after this past week, getting beat down by the Vikings. They're playing at home, and I just don't see any remedy for the Jaguars. The Texans' defense is significantly better than what they put out there this past week. I think that at the end of the day, the Jaguars' defense is extremely underwhelming. And I mean, Etienne is a dynamic player if you give him the ball, but their receiver core has never been one that I was excited about. And when they originally signed
Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk was the third string wide receiver for the Cardinals, and they gave him first string wide receiver money.
And he's rewarded them by playing like a third string wide receiver.
Exactly. Yeah, I never knew what they were going for there. But Florida is as Florida does. So maybe they're just doing everything they can to get them moved to England.
Which is always a consideration, honestly. So Texans -7 right now. If you are one of our hundreds of fans watching live, we appreciate you. It is Tuesday night. The line is currently 7. There's one person watching. Whoever you are, we love you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mom.
But yeah, it's Tuesday night. The line is 7. That's too much. That's too much for the Texans team that I saw play a great secondary in the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
But the secondary is not where they got torched. They got torched in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They got torched up the middle. There was so much time for Sam Darnold to throw the football, and they got beat by the tight ends, and it sucked the defensive secondary up, and then they beat him over the top.
And they beat him over top. Yep.
7 is too much. The Jaguars suck. I don't think the Jaguars win this game, but I can't lay 7 with the Texans. I'm not sure the Texans are much better as a holistic unit than the Jaguars are at this point in the season. They're probably better on defense. They're certainly better on offense. But where we're sitting here week 4, if you put a gun to my head and said bet this game is Jaguars +7, I'd feel pretty good.
I'm not taking it. Okay, yeah. Take Jaguars. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. I think also right now too, like it might be a statement game for the Jaguars to like have to put themselves in position to win this game. Because if not, I mean, your season is shot realistically.
They might
There
not come
are no
back from
teams.
London. They might just stay there.
Just stay
Just forfeit all the games. They'll just play against like flag football teams out there.
You guys want to play football? All right, cool. Start using your feet. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm taking the Texans in this. Plus the -7. I think the Texans will win by at least a score. So I'll take it.
Feels like a lot. Feels
I'll
like
take
a lot,
it.
but you'll probably be
know,
on the
man.
right side of it. They're the better team.
Hey, Nico Collins on my fantasy team. So let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
Sean, this next one, if you will allow me to admit a mistake. I
am willing to listen.
I have been wrong. I have seen the light. I have been rude and I have been critical. And I am ready to atone for my sins.
Speak, preach.
The Steelers' defense is better than I thought. Justin Fields sucks.
He is never going to give Justin Fields any love. And you know what? It is what it is. I have never won.
Justin Fields might be the greatest game manager quarterback of all time when this is all said and done. I can see a path to the Steelers going undefeated without ever scoring more than 25 points. And Kurt Warner shaking in his boots because Justin Fields is playing mistake-free football. And I have been critical of Justin Fields. That part's true. I don't like Justin Fields. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. Justin Fields is winning games as an NFL quarterback. Justin Fields is doing exactly what the Steelers need him to do. And that's all that matters. He's doing his job. He's doing it well. The Steelers are for real. And I think if they can shut down JTT, the Colts are in a lot of trouble here.
I can agree with that. I mean, the Steelers defense has been very, very, very good this season. And, you know, you don't want to give Justin Fields the love that I think he deserves and a little bit more. I'm not saying that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying he's top 5. I'm not saying he's top 10.
The best quarterback on his team.
But hey. Just because he's got a father figure there doesn't mean he's not the best quarterback. I think that Justin Fields is really doing what he needs to do in a Mike Tomlin system. And I have told you, sir, that Mike Tomlin does not take L's. All right. This man is, if you want to talk about us, one of the best coached organizations in NFL, it's the Steelers. Hands down. They've had 3 coaches for the past 60 years. Like the Steelers, I mean, the Packers had 3 quarterbacks, but the Steelers had 3 coaches for 60 years.
Lightning round. Last 30 years, 3 best coach organizations. Go. 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, last 30 years? Well, the Patriots had 20 years in Belichick. The Steelers, I would say, the Steelers have been obviously one. And then, I wanted to go with. I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs right now because Andy Reid is a monster, and Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Andy Reid in Philadelphia was also a monster.
Like mine's. I was gonna go Patriots, Steelers, Eagles.
Very fair enough. You're going Eagles. Are you going? Yeah, I'm just saying Eagles have had a couple years in there for some turmoil. You know, they had the Doug Peterson year. They had some Chip Kelly years later on. Now they got Sirianni is solid. But I think that's Jeffrey Lurie and the organization just understanding what the team needs. And Philly's a tough city. But as far as coaching goes, Tomlin, I'm going with Reid and I'm going with Belichick for 20 years. You know, those guys right there are going to be a significant number of Super Bowls in the last 20 years. They probably have.
Honorable mention to the Packers because that's what spurred this conversation. I don't need the Packers fans in my DMs again.
True, but they've had a few different coaches in that time frame. They had LaFleur, they had McCarthy, they had a few guys in there, and there's a very good and Holmgren too. Yeah, very well coached organizations. True. But I think that'd be my top 3. But yeah, culture in trouble if they can't get Richardson going. because they're just going to rely on JTT, and the Steelers' defensive line is way too good to let them run all over them. So I'm taking the Steelers in this game. I'm taking the Steelers to go 4-0 in a season where Rick made it very clear that the Steelers were going to be the worst team in their division.
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble on that bet because there's not a whole lot of time left. Like, they need to lose like a lot of games now.
Everyone else is losing.
Next 3: Colts, home Cowboys, at Raiders.
Steelers starts off the season 6-0.
Brother, I'm glad we're on the same page. I was about to say Steelers go 8-0.
I mean, I'm a Raiders fan, so obviously I want to see the Raiders do what they need to do in order to get a win there. But
I mean, the blueprint's out. The blueprint's out. All you have to do is have a quarterback that shouldn't be a starter and like a semi-decent running game. So the Raiders are going to lose the Steelers by 30.
Hey. We beat the Ravens, all right? Which you just described as the exact same team we beat the week before.
All right. I beat you up a little bit. Let's turn it on me here. I am back. Super Bowl or bust, baby. Oh my goodness. Bo Nix might still be the second coming of John Elway. He is certainly the second coming of Kyle Orton. I am fired up. Just when I was ready to throw in the towel, I burned my Bo Nix jersey. I ordered another one from Sheen. It'll be here soon. Not soon enough for the Broncos to beat the Jets, but maybe next week.
Jets have a much more polished team. They've got a leader in Aaron Rodgers who should be the guy for that team. They've got weapons they've got weapons at receiver. They got weapons in the backfield. Like, they should beat the Broncos. The Broncos are just a young team. They're injury prone. I really haven't seen too much going on.
They're not young on defense.
They're not young on defense.
I'm talking about here. That's what happened to the Bucs.
Interesting.
Bo Nix didn't beat the Bucs.
I guess that's fair. Although he did have a rushing touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he?
They don't have a running back.
Yeah, what? Javonte Williams is dead? Is that what happened?
Look at the stat line. It looks like he might be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're just realistically with their receiver core of Sutton, Reynolds, and Valet, like, who are you throwing the ball to? Like, Marvin Mims is your 4-5 receiver. Javonte Williams was supposed to be this dynamic running back after getting injured, and then I haven't seen very much from him. I haven't seen anything from him. I don't have the faith. I don't have any faith in them, and I expect to see that this game is going to go against the Broncos' favor. I see the Jets as being a much more polished team with weapons where they need to have them, and I see that if they can stay healthy, they could be. They'll definitely win this game, but they'll be one of the better teams in their division, if not the best team in their division. If not the best team in their division.
Jets 7.5 right now. Like 70% of the money's on the Jets. Like,
Jesus Christ, I can't take that. I can't take 7.5. That's wild for me.
I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that with you if you want to do a little podcast side bet. We have to come clean with our bets. Actually, we haven't done that.
Oh yeah, we have to look at those. We have to speed through this. Take a look with it. All right.
I've also stopped recording them, just because I try not to be typing and shit while we're recording. But I should probably bring that back because we've made some wild bets that I feel like I don't have written down.
Just so everyone knows, all the bets for shots.
Yeah, the Lord.
I'll take the Malort hot dog shot though. I'll take that bet. Yeah, you do.
I have to get blasted in the face with hot dogs too. Recreate that GIF. We both went 0-3, and she outscored me.
Rough week for fantasy.
There's a lot happening. I got the Jets. I think the Jets cover that number. I'm really intrigued by Bo Nix. I will continue to be intrigued by Bo Nix. but not like as an NFL quarterback necessarily, just more as like a fixation. The Broncos are not mature enough on offense
No,
to
I agree with
win
that.
games, let alone win what is probably a top 3 division in football.
I mean, the Chiefs. It depends on how well the Chargers do. It depends on
Oh,
how well the
yeah,
Chargers
right.
do. It is really it's the Chiefs, and then it's everyone else. If the Chargers tend to be a mediocre team in there, and then you end up with the Broncos and the Raiders being bad. So if the Raiders can be good, if the Chargers can be decent, if the Broncos are bad, that puts them up there. But realistically, I mean, it's just not been a great division in recent years for anyone except for the Chiefs.
I have the Broncos finishing ahead of the Raiders.
I'll take that.
Lock
I'll
it
take
in.
that.
Lock it
I'll
in.
take
Put
that.
one in
I
the
want to
sheet.
take the veteran leadership of Garner Minshew.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That one's going in the sheet right now.
So
Broncos, Raiders. And this is why I don't do it, because I gotta get I'm blind, and also I can't type without looking at the keys. All right.
no worries.
Eagles, Bucks.
This should be a fun one.
So this one for me, the only note I had was that like really some of the shine came off of this. Eagles obviously beat the Saints, but they probably shouldn't have. And the Bucks lose a tough game against the Broncos. This is one I kind of had earmarked. It's like, yeah, like this is like 2 high-powered offenses. I really want to see it. And now it's kind of like, this will probably be on, but I don't think the audio is even a consideration here.
So I think that there's the biggest issue that I'm seeing right now, at least for the Eagles, is that their play calling, especially earlier on in games, is not consistent with how well the team is built. The fact that Saquon Barkley got no carries in the first quarter of the game is insane because he's a workhorse for a reason. If you want your receivers to be open, I mean, the Eagles consistently have had good tight end play, as you just saw from Dallas Goedert. They have great wide receivers in Devontae and AJ. Now, AJ's out right now. We'll see how he looks this week. I'm not sure if he'll be back this week. Devontae had the concussion. I expect him to be back this week, though. And so you've got good receiver core, but you need to establish the run early on to force defenses to stack the box so that you can go ahead and get that ball downfield. I mean, Dallas Goedert with 170 receiving yards tells you all you need to know about how good he could be as a receiver. And, you know, A.J. Brown is one of the top receivers in the NFL. We can look at that over the last few years. He's been very consistent, you know.
3 more weeks. 3 more weeks before he's back, though.
So I mean, you have to really establish that run. Your offensive line has been one of the best in football in the last few years. Yes, you lose Jason Kelce. We'll keep bringing that up because that's still really, really significant. Losing a Hall of Fame caliber center is a big deal. But it's not like their offensive line is bad. And then Lane Johnson. There's a chance that he retires in the next few years. He's got a long career, but right now you still got him. And you need to use them. You need to make sure that offensive line is doing what it's done to have one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. And I just think that they need to establish that earlier on in the game. If they can establish that earlier on in the game, they take possession of the clock, and then they start getting the ball downfield. They're a very, very strong, high-powered offense. And the defensive line, still strong. Linebacker core, solid. There's some iffies, I'd say, inconsistencies in the secondary. Every one game they play lights out. The next game it's like, what's going on back there? And so I think that they can get a handle on that. I think they'll be good to go. So I'm still boom on the Eagles. I'm not bust on them yet. I'm still boom on them.
I'm gonna get in a jab and then move immediately into my analysis, so you have no time to recover. But this guy, Sean, knows more about the Eagles than he does about the Raiders. Now, the Eagles defense I'm going to lean into the small sample sizes, right? The Eagles defense has shut down a 40-point per game offense. They stopped the Saints dead in their tracks. The Bucks were shut down completely offensively by the Broncos. So, small sample size, but that's all we have right now. Line is Eagles 2.5.
There's a reason for that.
I'm gonna bet though. I'm gonna move that line. I'm gonna move that line. I don't know that I'm gonna parlay it with anything else. The Eagles win this game by 10, and they do it in convincing fashion, and they do it early. I think they go up early. I think Saquon smashes this Bucks team in the mouth, and they go up big, and they never let it go.
I can see that.
And I think this is the game that like Red Zone is shying away from late because there's nothing left to watch.
That's fair. I think that I'm agreeing with you, and that I think that they beat up early. Saquon punches him in the face, because at that point, then the defense can pin their ears back and just get after Baymay, and then he can't get the ball downfield. Then there you go. So I'm thinking, but the Eagles have the chance to just punch them early on with that O-line, just really control the clock, really get up, and then just coast the rest of the game. So I'll take that. I don't know if I would go Eagles win by 10, but I'll definitely take the line on it.
We'll talk later in the week.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders, Cardinals. I want to, as a hater of, how do I want to put this? As a hater of young and rookie quarterbacks in general, I want to give Jayden Daniels his dues. Boy's here. I mean,
he is arrived.
He is arrived. Beating the Bengals, which most of America still feels like is a powerhouse team, on national TV in the way that he did, efficiently, cleanly, making his reads, running. Super impressive. I am super impressed. I am even more impressed because he did this whole thing. He didn't do it. The media did this thing like the LSU quarterbacks narrative.
Oh yeah,
and he beat Joe Burrow's
beat the hell out of him.
They only won by 6 or 7 or whatever the hell it was. But
it was 5. I think
the Commanders won that game early and just kind of maintained it, and that's how it felt. So good for him. I am super excited for Jayden Daniels to go up against Mr. Kill Death Ratio himself. This game is going to be sick. Kyler Murray and Jayden Daniels. I hope that we have the kind of quarterback duel that we had in this Bengals game. I'm very, very excited for this game. Cardinals 3.5.
Well, it's a home game, so that's always a plus. Kyler's got a few more years of experience, and I think that Jayden Daniels really did arrive. Hey, don't knock it. I mean, Kyler Murray is still an exceptional athlete. Is a reason why the man won the Heisman and got drafted in 2 different leagues. He's still an exceptional athlete. There's a reason why he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's a reason why he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's got the pedigree to be that guy. I mean, and realistically, he's got some receivers there. I think that he's got the offensive weapons. It's going to be a fun game, I think, especially watching those offenses develop. I like Brian Robinson in the backfield. I like Terry McLaurin for Washington. I think that Jayden Daniels really found his guys this week and really, really put the ball where it needed to be. And I think that that's something that he's going to be able to continue to do. You're playing in the desert, but you're playing in a dome, so there's no real concern for anything there. So I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think, what do you feel? Okay, over 110 yards rushing combined, both quarterbacks.
Over 110. Over 109.5.
Or just give me the line. The line is 109.5. Both quarterbacks rushing this game.
Give me 60-40. Give me about 100 total.
Okay.
60 for Kyler.
60 for Kyler, 40 for Jayden.
Yeah, and I think it's because the Cardinals are playing from behind. I think it's scramble yard. I think it's like deep shell Kyler at the end of the game. Because I truly think that their passing acumen is what's going to shine here. Jayden Daniels running is more a part of his game. I feel like Kyler Murray's running is more a part of his elusiveness. If that makes sense. He's snaky. He gets outside, but he's more of a true pocket quarterback. He's just short, so he gets out of the pocket and then looks and then runs. So I think Kyler's yards will come as they're chasing. I think the Commanders will be up in this game. That's why I make that argument. But yeah, give me about 100 yards between the two of them. That feels about right.
Okay, I'll take it. All right. Fun game we got next on the schedule.
Yeah, I'm feeling like give me like close your eyes, and imagine it's 2014, and the Patriots are going to San Francisco to play the 49ers, and Tom Brady is lining up against God knows who.
Was it
No,
Capital?
I lost it.
Or was it Jimmy
don't.
G? Who was the quarterback at that time?
No, it's 10 years ago. My point was that like this is a game in the afternoon slot. This is the Fox game of the week, right? Like this is the only game on. Red Zone's barely a thing. Like this is the game on at your uncle's, and you're like there for dinner or something, and you're like you're excited for this game, and I am not excited. The chat says it's either Alex Smith or Kaepernick, which actually reinforces what I'm about to say, which is I'm not excited for this game. I feel like the Patriots are who they are right now. I think we see Drake May in this game. I hate that. Because the coaching staff in New England is not ready for that kind of decision, and putting Drake May in there doesn't help anything. But the calls are there, right? And you got to get your quarterback some time. And where better to get him time than against one of the better defenses in the league, at least on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But the Niners aren't the Niners. There's going to be no McCaffrey. There's going to be no wide receivers. I mean, did you see Ayuk get cracked?
Ayuk got racked, yeah.
Oh, man. I mean,
Debo's
so
out.
Juwan Johnson had a hell of a game. Juwan Johnson did his job.
Juwan Jennings.
We'll say Johnson?
Yeah.
Juwan Jennings, 3 touchdowns. He shouldn't be out there, right? It shouldn't be a thing. Right? So it's on me for not knowing the boy's name, but like this is where the 49ers are. Like on a skill player level, I don't know what the status is of the longest haired tight end in the NFL, but they're down to almost nothing here. So I'm not super excited for this game because I think their defense overwhelms what is probably a really bad offense for the Patriots. Stevenson obviously had a really down game, and then game flow just kind of went away from him. It's really hard. 602. It's 602.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really hard to get carries when your team is down and you're chasing from behind.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not convinced that the Patriots can put themselves in a position where they can get ahead. Like the Niners should just be able to grind them away.
The Patriots, the Niners defense on paper is better than the Jets defense. So the Patriots are going to lose 24-3 to the Jets. I can only imagine what they're going to put up against a Niners defense. I mean, you're not wrong here. At the end of the day, the Patriots are just they don't have the experience. It's the offense is just not there. Get Drake May in and get him some experience because Jacoby Brissett, he's played forever. He's really a perennial backup. Like, let's be honest, he's not really led a team to do anything. Even when he was in Indy, he really wasn't this dynamic guy.
Well, and Mayo knows
Drake makes the future. Yeah, true. But they're used to him in the system, and he's a comfort guy, and he's not. At the end of the day, though, if your future is Drake May, get him in the system, let him play. Hopefully, he doesn't turn out like the last 3 quarterbacks that you had that had the same pedigree and Zappy and White and like it just was
Mac Jones, Mac
Jones, yeah.
So my question is though, like, is this the spot? Like, you're getting your ass kicked. Is that really where you stick Drake May in there? But then you look at the Patriots schedule. And if that's the thinking, there might never be a spot. Like, where do you get your guy NFL experience if the goal is to pacify a fan base who hasn't lost any sport in 25 years? Like if it's unacceptable for Brissett to come in and suck and to be down by 20 points and to look like crap, is plugging Drake May in the right call? Is it the right answer?
I don't think putting him in this week is the right answer, only because you put in you want if you want to discourage him, yeah, throw him in against arguably one of the best defenses in the league, in a game that you expected they're going to get torched. But I mean, after this, you can put him in against the Dolphins, and you got the Jags at some point. There's a few softer defenses on here, and I think that a home game versus the Dolphins is a better fit than playing at the 49ers for a guy who you want to be your future, especially since we don't, the Dolphins they're not getting out. Tua's not coming back.
Tua's not coming back.
Tua's not
Sean,
coming back.
well, we got some viewers asking fantasy questions in the chat. Are you willing to field a fantasy question? It is related to this game.
Sure, absolutely. All right.
Would you trade McBride and Sutton for Ramondre Stevenson and Pittman?
I'm gonna say
if it matters, backup tight end is Fergie.
I'm gonna say no. I think Pittman's going to be much more of a possession receiver and McBride is right now. He hasn't given me any consistency. Like last week he gave me what? He only had like 3 fantasy points. I think he only had 2 or 3 receptions for very few yards. So it's not like I'm getting a lot from Trey McBride. What you're getting from Ramondre Stevenson is he's a workhorse, right? So for a fact that on any given Sunday, Ramondre Stevenson is going to be the guy that they're getting the ball to. And Pittman in that offense.
So your answer is yes. You want the Stevenson side.
Oh, yeah. I take that back. Yes, trade him. Take it back. I read that wrong. Yeah, you definitely want to trade him. You'll be getting Stevenson and Pittman. Yeah, make that trade. I think you should make that trade.
I think Stevenson's usage last week is not indicative. If you look at the first 2 weeks, I think he averaged 17 touches. Getting blown out and going into the version of the game plan that they ran is not going to be the norm. I want Stevenson. It depends a little bit on your running backs, but just in a vacuum, I would rather have Stevenson and Pittman than McBride and Sutton.
100%.
McBride is probably a top 8 tight end, but Sutton to Pittman is a huge upgrade. And so the fantasy point differential between McBride and Stevenson, that's enough for me to do it there. You can find a tight end on the waivers if you're in anything less than like a 14 tight end league. Fergie's fine.
He was coming off injury too, if I'm not mistaken. He got injured. So I expect him to be better used in that offense than he was this past week. But yeah, I would take the Stevenson Pittman trade for McBride and Sutton. You're going to get a guy who's typically over the last few years, he's been their workhorse, especially with really inconsistent offenses. You could rely on Ramondre Stevenson. And if they're going to start using Drake May, he's going to want to have a comfort guy and a guy that is a good check down guy, a guy who's going to get, who's going to make him feel really safe in that backfield, a good chip guy. And I like Stevenson for that. And Pittman will get he'll get more receptions as, the season progresses with Richardson. So I think that's a good trade for you.
So Sean, I just tested the pop-up on the comments.
I like it.
Unlike the last time, we're finally in a setup where it doesn't screw everything up. So, chat and anyone watching not live, we can do this now. We could do live answers and actually pop it up on the screen. So that's fun.
Oh yeah, love that.
The Niners by 1 million. This is
agreed.
The line,
especially at home.
10. The line is 10.
Yeah, I can see that.
Chiefs, Chargers. I don't know who's going to be hurt for this game. I don't know who's going to be out for this game.
Mm-hmm.
The injuries in the league this year have been kind of crazy. The Chiefs are an 8.5 point favorite. My one note in the spreadsheet says steamroll. I think this is the get right game for the Chiefs. They haven't looked themselves. They haven't looked right. Travis Kelce's out there daydreaming about his girlfriend and not catching anything, running bad routes. He's still blocking. I think this is a get right game for the Chiefs. I think they're going to kick the Chargers' ass in LA, and the Chiefs are inevitable. The Chiefs are literally inevitable. Whenever everything starts going wrong for them, it just turns on a dime. And a lot of haters are like, oh, it's the refs. It's the ref. It's not. I mean, like, this Chiefs team is built to where you have to play the perfect game to beat them. Otherwise, they win. It's not sustainable for anybody else in the NFL. This Chiefs team, at its worst, is not a wild card team. This Chiefs team, at its worst, wins their division. And it's insane. It's crazy the way they've been built. It's crazy the way they execute. Like, you have to be 100% perfect for the Chiefs to be afraid of you. That doesn't even guarantee a win.
True.
I think,
add to that the injuries. You're absolutely correct.
This is the turning point.
Yeah. Add to that the injuries too, and we're looking at significant injuries from the Chargers. Right? You've got Joe Alt, the best offensive tackle. He's expected to miss with an MCL injury, a sprained MCL. Herbert, he aggravated an injury, a high right ankle sprain. So I don't expect him to be on his top game. Bosa is questionable. So like, you're looking at some of these guys. You got Slater, the other tackle, who went out during the game with a pectoral injury. He's questionable now. You've got a couple of guys on IR that really contribute to this to the defense especially. So I am not sold. And you've got a Palmer questionable right now, and then you've got Junior Colson, the linebacker, questionable. So I'm looking right now and I'm going, yeah, I'm not seeing the Chargers really pulling this game out. It is a home game, but does that really do a difference for you against the Chiefs team who has found ways to win consistently, regardless of who's out? Pacheco's injured, no problem. Bring in Carson Steele. Lose all your wide receivers, no problem. Just bring in new guys. When you got Patrick Mahomes behind the helm, this guy will make ways to make passes, to make guys get the ball to the guys that he needs to. And then that defense, the anchor and Chandler Jones, and you really have to play them at perfectly in order to win these games. So I got the Chiefs. I don't know about a 10 points because, again, it's one of those divisional games. So I'm always hesitant to really put that big take the big line on a divisional game.
We are trending way behind the clock in a surprise to literally no one. Our clock management is worse than Andy Reid's.
Hey.
But this next game is yours.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you as many as 4 minutes to talk about Browns Raiders as you need. And the only thing that I'm going to say is that this game is a pick 'em, and I'll let anybody else pick 'em. I'm not touching this game.
I take the Raiders at home. I take a bounce back game. Antonio Pierce is pissed with that team. I see that Max Crosby. Oh, he's furious. His post game interview, they asked him what takeaways would he have from that game. He said nothing except for the fans being great and showing up. He said we did not do our jobs. So after beating the Ravens in a tight fought game and then getting blown out by one of the worst teams in the NFL, it stands to reason that you're going to have a bounce back game. At least in my opinion, especially at home. Browns, I don't see anything consistent out of the Browns. I still don't have any faith in Deshaun Watson. I still don't see a run game isn't. I'm just going to say this. Amari Cooper is still good. He's still great. He's a great receiver.
Yes.
He's doing his thing. But I think that if we can get pressure on Watson, I think that's really going to make this game a lot better, a lot easier for the Raiders to win. Gardner Minshew is going to have to show his mettle here. The Raiders come out 2-2 to start the season off. I'll be extremely happy. But that's what we have to see from them. The defense just needs to step it up. The secondary needs to play well. And playing a game at home against a team that isn't this super high powered team, I think gives them the best chance to really get the win here.
Sunday Night Football. Bills Ravens.
This game right here should be the game. I'm looking right now.
Super excited
to
see the prototype, the real NFL rushing quarterback against LaFraud. The Bills are going to do to the Ravens what the Bills did to the Dolphins. This Ravens team played
Oh
the
my God.
lowly Raiders horrifically. Josh Allen is going to wipe his ass with bird feathers. This is going to be a smackdown. The line is Ravens 2.5. The Ravens will never lead in this game. Justin Tucker's going to miss more kicks, and the Bills are going to be the talk of the town in the NFL. Give me the Bills money line. Give me the Bills alt line. I want to lay 3.5. And give me Lamar with fewer than 30 rushing yards.
And I'm going to take that from you because Derrick Henry is going to show you after a good week this past week why he's still King Henry. All right. At the end of the day, they did not use him well in the first 2 weeks. I don't know what they were doing, but they played like they did not use him well in the first 2 weeks. So give me another strong performance from Derrick Henry and let me see how well that Bills defense can actually handle a dynamic rushing offense like the Ravens have. Zay Flowers is still a speed demon. So we can expect that he's going to have some chances over top if they stack the box in order to get those deep passes in. But I am 100% sold on Derrick Henry really putting up some yards this year, or this game against the Bills defense, who played honestly played a very weak. They played this week was just it was cookies for them. You know, you come off of a week like that, playing against the Ravens at home. They're definitely not the Jaguars. Lamar Jackson's not going to let that happen. And he's so mobile back there. He's got all the options to be able to make the plays downfield when he needs to. Use Derrick Henry, pound that rock early. You say what you want about Josh Allen. I'm waiting for him to win me some playoff games. I want to see Josh Allen do something more than just be really good in the regular season. I don't give a shit how many touchdowns he has over the season. It means nothing to me because get me to the playoffs and let me see how you perform. Right? If you don't make it to the Super Bowl, then I don't care. I don't care what you want to call a prototype quarterback. It doesn't matter to me. And the same thing goes for the Ravens. One of these two teams has to beat the Chiefs this year. Otherwise, all they did was just pay for nothing. Except the difference is that Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs at least.
It's a news award. That's a news award. You can't trust the news.
You definitely can't.
DeMar Hamlin is going to make Zay Flowers look like Johnny Knox.
Wow. Look, you know my theory, my conspiracy theory on DeMar Hamlin, all right? DeMar Hamlin is stealing DeMar Hamlin is stealing Tua Tagovailoa's life energy.
He's stealing his life. He's going to do it to Zay Flowers.
He's a succubus. Call him an incubus or a succubus?
No, succubus is female, incubus is male.
Oh, right? Fair enough.
I'm willing to be wrong on that. I think an incubus is the male version. He's going to Google it. While you Google it, I will move on to the first of 2 Monday Night Football games. This is the one. Go ahead.
An incubus is a male demon believed to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Speaking of male sex demons, Titans Dolphins. This is one of 2 Monday Night Football games. So, in my opinion, if you only have one TV, you just skip this game completely. There's no reason to even watch the first quarter of this while you wait for the late game to come on.
All I'm saying is, I'll let you finish.
No, I mean, all I was going to say is that Will Levis should never be the best quarterback in a game, and he is.
I agree with that. Do you think they're going to start Huntley? I think they should. I think
it can't hurt. Skylar Thompson shouldn't even be a MAC wide receiver. I don't understand. I don't understand how he has an NFL job. I don't understand why the Dolphins are like, this is fine. I get filling in when Tua gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Run the friggin' Wildcat. Skylar Thompson sucks. Like Mostert was hurt. I guess that's why you can't run the Wildcat because Mostert.
That is not true. They can still run the Wildcat. Berrios can run the Wildcat. They can still run the Wildcat. They still have Waddle and Hill. They still have a lot of guys who can move that, who are fast as hell back there. I don't care if they run jet sweeps and wildcat and triple options all game, but that's got to be a better option for the speed that they have on that offense than having Skylar Thompson back there thinking he's in the pocket trying to throw the ball.
The only way this game is watchable is if the Dolphins go all orange and the Titans go all powder blue. Otherwise, I'm not even going to have this game.
The uniforms.
Yeah, yes. Apologies. Yeah, give me the Dolphins all orange with the white face mask. Give me the Titans in their powder blues. I'm in. I'll watch that just for optics.
Fair enough. I mean, the line in this game is, you got to pick them in there.
Pick them.
Yeah, I'm not picking either one of them. I'll pick my nose before I pick either one of these guys.
This is the one. I will have this on for 10 minutes before. Can we move on?
100%. We've been talking about it for too long.
Before the real game, Monday Night Football, the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, buddy.
Seahawks, Lions. Sean, the Lions are wearing their blackout unis.
Yeah, they look fresh.
They look sick.
I'm
excited for this one. At home.
Lions at home with the blackout unis?
Yeah. Right. And you know what they did? You know what they did to the uniforms? The inside of the collar has blue striping. Because whether they're home or away,
they have to have the blue.
They represent the blue collar workers.
I love that. That's fire, dude. Detroit is one of those teams that I'm high on this season. They have the chance to be I think that they're still the best team in the division. But they have the chance to be one of the best teams in the NFC. The Seahawks, don't get me wrong, they're winning football games. But I still don't see them as that top pedigree team. I still see the Seahawks as a mid-tier team that's going to make the playoffs, but end up having to play in a divisional round wildcard game. Like I see them as like a 4, 5, 6. You know, I can see them there. Actually, they're either going to. I think they're going to be a 4, 6, 7. 4, 6, 7.
Yeah, depending on how the Niners finish.
Well, there's definitely going to be another team in the NFC that's going to end up with a better record than them, I think. So I think they'll definitely end up a 4, 6, 7. It just depends on whether or not they win a division, or if they end up being the wild card. But I think that they're definitely a wild card caliber team. I'll take Detroit in this game. I like Detroit. I think they're a much more consistent team than the Seahawks. Seahawks have put together some good drives, though. You know, Geno's been looking solid, and the run game looks decent. He's getting the ball out there.
Put some respect on his name. The charred bonnet. Charbonnet has been chef's kiss, man. He looks good. He's so injury prone. Every time I watch him get tackled, it's just like, oh man.
Why is his legs moving like that?
He's a hard runner, and I am really excited for this Monday Night Football game, especially after the Commanders Bengals. Like, I feel like we could build some momentum. Like, give me a game. I'm not watching this Titans bullshit, but Lions 3.5, and I'll like cautiously lay the points, but like this is probably a field goal game. I could picture like Geno driving down the field at the end and coming up just short.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I got Detroit in this game. I'll take the line. I think that it's a good call. I do see Detroit taking the win on this one.
Hey, that's the slate. That's week 4. We are only slightly above our time that we keep for ourselves. This is a 30-minute show, by the way, to our viewers. But we've been doing pretty good. We've keeping about an hour. We had a lot of good discussion today, though. I am okay with 110. I don't know about you.
We also got some feedback. We got some crowd work in here. Got a few that's what we want, guys. If you have questions, by all means, throw them in the chat, and we'll try to get to them. We'll definitely want to touch on anything that you guys want to discuss, and make sure that this is as fun and interactive as we can.
Definitely want to shout out our non-live viewers. Thank you for continuing to tune in. Hope that it brings some value. We still have some other ideas on the slate for midweek kind of stuff, weekend kind of stuff. Really depends on the feedback we get from you guys and the views, quite honestly. I'll never beg for views, but likes and subscribes I'll beg for every single day.
Like and subscribe.
But really, it's just we're having fun with it, I think. And really, if you guys are enjoying what you see, just drop us a line. Doesn't have to be in the comments. Helps the algorithm if you put it in the comments. But we'll take it anywhere. Any constructive feedback you have, we'd love to hear. And yeah, I'm having a great time, Sean.
Me too, dude. This is awesome. I just was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, "It was really cool that you guys have this idea that you guys just, you get together, you talk football." I was like, "I've been wanting to do this for years, and we finally got it together, and I'm having a blast. Like every week, I look forward to it. So I'm ready to keep it going. And thank you guys for tuning in. Please continue to share, like, subscribe. Bring in other people, bring in more feedback. We want this show to be as fun for you guys as it is for us because we do this anyway. I'll see Rick during the week and we start talking shit to each other. And I'm like, bro, we got to remember to save this for the podcast. We got to remember to save this. So, yeah, like, by all means, check in, and we'll continue to give you guys as much of an analysis as we can. We really enjoy doing this. We really enjoy you guys watching, too.
So, hey, this yelling and screaming, week 4, NFL. I am at King of Lakemore everywhere you can find me, even Reddit. Follow me on Reddit. Why not?
I am at KS Flash on all socials, and I think mine is also including my Reddit. I'll have to double check.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you for NFL Week 5.
Take care.
And then the